The strength of the Soviet Air Force has often been associated with the MiGs, internationally famous fighter planes. During the Cold War years, the MiG fighters were the primary adversaries for 3 generations of Western aircraft. In numerous regional conflicts, the MiGs repeatedly demonstrated their awesome combat power. While every Western pilot learned to recognize MiGs in the air, little has been known about the history of these planes and the people who created them. In 1931, Soviet Russia was 14 years old. The country's economy was slowly recovering from the shock of 2 revolutions and 2 wars. Industrial reconstruction gathered momentum. The party's plans for the country's technical development paid particular attention to aircraft construction, as aviation was considered both a critical factor in future wars and a promising means of transportation. New Soviet planes set significant records, performing long-distance flights to Europe, China, and the United States. To meet the demand for more highly qualified aviation engineers, the Bolshevik Party recruited thousands of its members for Air Force engineering schools. One of these party members was Mikogyan. He was born in 1905 in a small Armenian village of Sanaib. The youngest son of a poor carpenter, Mikogyan worked as a village shepherd from the age of 6. In 1918, his family moved to Tbilisi, where Artyom and his older brother Anastas attended school. In 1923, in Rostov-on-Don, Mikogyan entered a technical school to learn the trade of lathe operator. In 1925, he joined the Bolshevik Party and moved to Moscow to work at an electric equipment plant. By that time, his brother was already a key figure in the party structure, one of the closest associates of the country's new leader, Joseph Stalin. When young members of the party elite were chosen to study aviation engineering, Artyom Mikogyan, with his flawless proletarian background and his brother in the high party echelons, was a perfect candidate. In 1931, he entered the Zhukovsky Air Force Engineering Academy in Moscow. He studied aviation science and design, and in 1935 went to Kharkov for practical training in aircraft engineering. Back in Moscow, Mikogyan, interested in creating his own design, persuaded his friends to join him in building an airplane. In 1936, they presented their baby plane, the Aktia Brianok, at a prestigious aircraft competition. After Mikogyan successfully graduated from the academy in 1937, he was assigned to the Fighter Design Bureau. This enterprise had been founded by Nikolai Polikarpov in 1923 and had originally designed light multi-purpose biplanes. Among them the famous Po-2, a trainer converted to a night bomber during World War II. In the late 1930s, Polikarpov's I-15 biplane and I-16 monoplane were produced by the thousands, making his bureau an unchallenged leader in fighter design. When Mikogyan came to the bureau, he helped update the I-16 and designed the I-153 biplane with retractable landing gear. Polikarpov noticed the talented young engineer and put him in charge of all the Bureau's work on the production models. Polikarpov believed that highly maneuverable but relatively slow biplanes complemented high-speed monoplanes in air combat. Fighting during the Spanish Civil War disproved this idea. Over Madrid, the new Nazi Messerschmitt Bf-109E bested both the I-16s and the I-15s, making use of its superiority in speed. Polikarpov's fighters had to be replaced with faster monoplanes that could match the 109. Stalin sanctioned the formation of new bureaus headed by promising young designers able to create a new generation fighter. Meanwhile, Artyom Mikoyan gathered a team of designers and engineers in the Polikarpov Bureau to realize his concepts for a superplane. One of these designers, Mikhail Γκουρεβιτς, would become Mikoyan's closest friend and associate. Born in 1892, Γκουρεβιτς graduated from the Institute of Technology in Kharkov. He acquired a vast background in design. In the autumn of 1939, Mikoyan's team proposed a project for a fighter named the I-200. Their aircraft would use an engine created by Alexander Mikulin. The AM-35 engine was originally designed for long-range bombers and was famous for its unique characteristics at high altitudes. With Anastas Mikoyan's support, the I-200 project was approved by the party leadership. A bureau was created to build the new plane with Artyom Mikoyan as its director. A war with Germany seemed imminent. Wehrmacht troops marched through Europe. Its cities collapsed under Luftwaffe bombs. The Soviet government demanded the Bureau immediately complete the new aircraft. Working day and night, Mikoyan's team finished the design and built the plane in less than 3 months. In April 1940, the I-200 was first flown by test pilot Arkady Yakatov. The test flight showed that this was the fastest Soviet plane ever made. Its speed exceeded 400 miles per hour. The new fighter was put into production as the MiG-1, named after its creators, Mikogyan and Γκουρεβιτς. While the MiG-1 was still in testing, Mikogyan improved the design. The modified plane, designated the MiG-3, was given leading-edge flaps for greater maneuverability and an additional fuel tank. Both aircraft were put into service at the end of 1940, but only 200 of the MiG-1s were ever made. The more numerous MiG-3 had a service ceiling of almost 40,000 feet, a range of 780 miles, and was armed with one 12.7mm machine gun and 2 smaller ones. Although the production of Mikogyan's planes increased rapidly throughout 1941, by the time of Russia's entry into the war, the obsolete Polikarpov planes still greatly outnumbered the MiGs.